Morning, Fanny. Morning, everyone. As per normal, just wait a couple more minutes and then we'll get started. See, Philip, you got the same bad habit as myself. It's Friday after all. Maybe a glass of scotch go nicely with it, eh? A few more seconds. I'd like to try and start on time. Okay, 1:30 it is. Let's get started. Just allow me to stop occasionally, just let people come in. There we are. Okay, before I forget, I think we all know it, but I'll repeat anyway. 2:30 today, the jobs report, the non-farm payrolls, so that's very important to take note of. Okay, we don't try and guess. You can have for fun guessing, but coming out and the reaction to it, it'll affect everything to a certain extent, but mainly the dollar, gold, and the share markets. Okay, just so you're aware of that. Indices, which make up the shares, which make up the indexes or the indices as well. Just so you're aware of that. Okay, you've got on the screen here the gold. I think it's been overcooked on the downside. It reached 110, or just around about the 110 level, as expected. Have been mentioned the last few days on the DXY, and it's got a bit of a pullback as we speak. Profit taking, bit of a cooked, normal sort of story, as you know, from trading now. Gold up. Now, I've got gold up. This is what I'd call an extremely aggressive trend. The trend's down, but I think we can get a bit of a bounce from here. The yields have gone up a little bit, which is, gone down a bit, which is good for gold, and the dollar's pulling back a bit, which is good for gold. I'm thinking of a short-term aggressive one if you want to take it, but remember it's short-term aggressive. Probably like to be out if you can before long, or have your stop loss in such a position that if you take it's in profit. So if you get stopped out in the profit, it doesn't matter. Then you can hold. If it goes your way, then you'll continue to go upwards. So if anyone wants to take this aggressive short-term trade, I'm looking at 1720 as a TP and 1692, $10 stop loss for a move up. Once it gets to maybe 1705, if it gets there, you can move your stop up because those costs aren't that high, maybe even to break even, depending on what you're getting in. So I'm looking at a goal to get in on that basis. Now I'm going to put the position size calculator up because it's moving as we speak, so we get a decent price. We don't want the ship to sail. Okay, so I'm going to put the stop loss in at make it 16.93, make it a $10 stop, and make it 17.20. Might not get there. I'll be modifying your stop, hopefully in a profit before it gets there, in case it doesn't. So it's only 17 bucks a micro, so it's 170 rand a mini, or whatever that is, 10 times 1700 rand would be a standard lot. So it's 17 rand a mini, 170, or you can do the math, doing up the basic maths. So if you want to do it, I wouldn't be chasing it above 1704. If you can't get in before 1704, you're indecisive, rather leave it. Don't be chasing it above 1704. I think it's too late then. But if you want to look around about this price, better if he gets it. But the dip is falling, the yields are falling a bit, and I think you do an aggressive short-term trade. And once your stop loss is into a profit, if it goes the right way, you can let it run into the job. If you get stopped out, so be it. If it's stopped down that profit, it doesn't matter. Clearly, anybody like the look of this one? Be on it sometimes, guys. I know we all sort of take it easy. It's Friday or whatever, but if you like it, you've got to be decisive and on it. If you're not sure, you're decisive, leave it. It's aggressive. You're in. Now that's a point. I just want to finish. Now, Farney's been trading for a while. I'm not sure he's guaranteed he's done it, but from experience, he knows to move on it. But I bet you any like he's gone into the position, and then afterwards, grabbing a reasonable price, he's putting the stop loss and TP and up. When you start off, you're fiddling around with the SL and TP, and by the time you press the buy or sell order, the thing's moved. Off sometimes in your favor. You might be lucky to get a better price in your favor. Now you're getting in a later price. So that's a little tip. I'm guessing you did that, but if you didn't, it doesn't really matter. The point is there. So put the order in and put the SL and TP in afterwards, and you're more relaxed. Otherwise, you're rushing, and then you're going to press the wrong button. Okay, just a little bit of a small practice. Okay, I'm assuming I'm right on that. It's funny. So now you're putting SL and TP in. If you're not, it's a good idea to do it in the future anyway. I always go in, I make my mind up, press the buy or sell button, and then I put the SL and TP. I get a modify and fit it in afterwards. Okay, let's see how that works out. Just aggressive. If you're not aggressive, not sure, leave it alone. It's just for guys who've got some idea. Okay, good enough. Sorry, I'm going to copy fill it now. Excuse me a second. You know what I mean? Hopefully nobody else does. Okay, right. Where are we now? I should be move off. I'll leave it a couple of seconds. Morning, Lorenzo. Okay, right. Now, today we don't have an afternoon session, just a morning session. 2:30 non-park farms. I'm looking at whether it's going to happen non-farms. Can understand whether that's new to you guys. So yeah, if you want me to say anything appertaining to the trading room, please just let me know on the chat line and I'll unmute. There's a bit of a background racket there. I don't know what that was about. Okay, so where were we? Yeah, so don't chase above 1704. You got the parameters, about a $10 stop, 1720. Once it gets above 1705, get your, if you got in about 1701 or 2, get your stop up to maybe 1700. Once it goes above 1706, get it up a little above entry. If you get stopped at, you won't make any money. If you won't, continues up, keep your stop loss moving if you want, or every 5 seconds, but you get the idea. So if it goes all right, and I don't want you to take the profit unless it's a TP, you get lucky at that one. For the non-farms, I want your stop loss, if it goes the right direction, to be into a profit, so you're relaxed. If you get knocked out on the non-farms, doesn't matter in a profit. If it goes your way, well, okay. If it's getting near 1720, I would suggest you, let's say by miracle it's up to, let's say, 1715. I would suggest then it's, let's say, coming up to 2:30, just beforehand, put your stop in, let's say, 1712. Remove your take profit in case it goes in your favor. You don't be knocked out at 1720 if it goes in your favor. It might shoot up 1740, and then what a pleasure. And then you can adjust accordingly. Now those guys got to start thinking on your feet. You got to start planning on your feet. When things are moving, you got to get the sense of urgency. The adrenaline's got to start flowing. But don't rush your positions when you're putting them in. That's where you make mistakes. You close the wrong one, or you pressed a short and you should have pressed the buy button or whatever. So just always take a little bit of time. I do it sometimes myself and I make that mistake, is where you just check before you press the button. I did that fairly recently. I forgot to check it quickly and I put the wrong thing in. Luckily, it wasn't a disaster, but just so you know. A quick check, press the go. Be on top of it, in other words. Okay. Just sort of relaxing. Yeah, no problem. Remember that advert we saw, castor oil? Yeah, but not a good idea. You need to be on it a bit. Okay, good enough. Right, I'm knocking that off now. We'll come back. I'm going to put it down to the aggressive trader. You all got in around about the 1702, 1701. That should have been when we got in on. I'll make it to 2. I got it at 1700, by the way, just so you know. So actually, I'll make it 1702 because depending on what time's got in. Make it 1692. The stop was at 1720. That's right. Aggressive, super aggressive, aggressive. Just don't forget. If you're not sure about it, why, where, what, don't do it. I stress again. Yeah, it might do, but you won't be on board then, my friend, unless you sold it short. This is a pullback. I'm still bullish on the dollar. I'm bearish on the market. I'm still bearish on gold. I'm just saying this is aggressive, going against the trend. I'm saying aggressive, grab a few bucks and take it from there. Okay. And because the lower costs are involved compared to other stuff like, like whatever, I don't know. The thing is then it doesn't have to favor much before you start getting that stop loss up to protect. So if it does, we don't know how far we're going against the trend. It's going to come off. You can grab a few bucks without being a hassle. And then once you're out, then look for selling the rally. Okay, that's the idea behind it, Leotini. Hope you're with me on the same page. You understand my strategy. You understand my thinking behind it. If we'll leave it alone, because we've got to be on the same page. And sometimes quickly forget no one understands the jargon and misinterprets what I'm saying. We'll call it lost in translation. Okay. Okay. About 1600, but the overall position is bearish, clearly. But just a quick, maybe a couple of bucks out of this to start off the Friday morning. Okay. A couple of my guys already got in it and they'll profits. That's fine. Good. What's clear to you, I hope it's clear to everyone else. I don't want guys who have no idea what I'm talking about. It's not clear, they'll have a batch it anyway, and it ends up in tears and they blame me. It's not my fault. You've got to be on the same language, on the same page. I don't know, not lost in translation or whatever. And as Mike pointed out yesterday, because I'm used to doing it, things are moving. I rattle away 9 to the dozen, and people think, what the hell's going on here? Slow me down. Mike, Ashley, Farney, whoever, they know a little bit better, more confidence. Just hang on a minute. What's this again, Roger? I don't have to be very rude about it. I mean, but I can take it as long as it's meant well, so we can all win. Okay, I'll knock that off now. I'm going to go and start looking at some of the trades we got in yesterday. Just a quick recap. Yeah, well, I'm not too sure chasing it now. I'm going to chase it a bit higher. I want to get about 1702. I think maybe leave it. Yeah, this is a quick aggressive against the trend for a bounce. The DXY is coming off from basically an overbought position, and the same with the yields, which I think expecting a bit of profit taking bounce, and a few guys will be aggressively scalping almost for a quick aggressive trend, then be out because the overall picture is definitely down. So we're trying to, and we got in, well, just now actually, it's already up about $1 or something. I'm not sure, guys, if you missed the boat, you missed the boat. I don't really want to be chasing at 1704 or above. It means it's adding too much to the aggressive risk involved. Okay. Just a bit of a play, just to get an idea of how these things move, and as you get the idea, like find it, I'm in it, like that. You need to be like that. Not scratching your head, scratching your bum, think about it, discussing the wife, coming back and saying, I think I'll go for it. That ship sailed. So sometimes you've got to be quick decision. And that's one of those ones. Not all of them like that. That's one of them. Okay. Depending on farms, we'll know that, but keep an eye on it. But there could be some bounces in some of those tech stocks. We mentioned NASDAQ yesterday at 12,000 for a bounce. It's occurred. It's not an enormous bounce, but at least a couple hundred pips is okay. So anybody who took that would have done okay out of it because they got in around about 12,000. Remember, I mentioned the mark yesterday. Don't have a 11,950 stop. It's too close. You've got to be prepared to have a 200 pip stop on this, and it's bounced up. If you did take it, those are going to afford it, not the guys with small accounts, like I mentioned many times. Move your stop up to break even or above to cover your costs and see if we can get 12.5 out of it. Move it up into profit if you're still on board before the non-farms. We could get a spike in either direction. It could come screaming down and up depending on the figures, the interpretation coming out. So if it's in profit, it doesn't matter, because if you get knocked out in a profit, if it screams in your direction, tally ho, you get the idea. I hope we're on the same position. Platinum, the problem with platinum there, Teely, is that it can be a bit on the boring side, which is not the main reason, is the deposits a bit on the high side. Let's have a look now. Platinum, where's platinum? Going the wrong way there. Story of our lives, eh? Who shouldn't say that? Specification, look at that. That's on the 500 to 1, which is quite a high. I think on your platforms on 100 to 1, it's around about 12.5% margin. So you're only going to get about, what, 7, 8 to 1 leverage. So if you haven't got a large amount in your account, you're tying a heck of a lot of your free capital, free margin, to get just a small position because the deposit's so much higher. Does that make sense on the maths? I don't mind that. I just want to cover that question first. Do you understand what I mean by that, Peter? But anybody not understand what I'm talking about there? Higher deposit means you've got to use more of your cash up to get into the trade, to get a proper position size, means you've got less to play with to go into other trades. We all understood. Very important that. Okay, that's why I don't encourage platinum, and I'll show what else I mean by that as well, is look at the movement of it. Put on the daily chart. All right, it's moved now, said that. Okay, we might get a bounce on platinum as well, but there's just better areas to go for than this particular one for that reason. I think you might get a bounce there, but why tie your capital up? Rather play with gold or silver. Okay. If you want to do it on your own time, but it's not, you know what I mean? It's just, you know, it's like saying, I want to buy the house and it's a leverage, but leverage is fantastic. Buying assets with it means you can get more assets for your money. It's terrible when you buy liabilities. The problem is the masses out there of the populace, they use deposit leverage derivatives for liabilities like clothing stores and computers and cars and things like that, which increase in value. So you're leveraging a liability. It's fantastic in business where you're leveraging an asset, because now you can buy 5 houses instead of 1 if you pay cash. You get the idea. But if you get 5 good investment houses, you're not going to live in them, and the deposit is 10% on those, and you go another area, equally good, just happens to be the deposit is 20%. Why tie up your capital at 20%, guys? Tie it on the 10. That's the general idea. Understand the maths. Right, silver's come off quite a bit, obviously bearish because it follows gold. We understand why. Could get a bit of a bounce. Just check the contract size, it's 500 by clicking on there, right click specification, and it tells you there 500. So remember, 500 times, I call it $18, okay? In dollars, so it's $18 times 500. It's an ounce, by the way, actually $18 an ounce. 500 is your 1.0 contract size. Just bear that in mind. Okay, why is it 500 compared to 10? Well, look at the figures, $17, $18 instead of about, you know, $12,000. Simple as that. It's vital to get the basic maths on this, because there's too many people reading all sorts of fancy bloody, I don't know, indicators and all sorts of great stuff, but they're not getting the reading and writing correct. It's all very well to be a car mechanic, but if you want to get down to your daughter's wedding in Durban and you're in Joburg and you're not quite sure how to drive the car, all that mass and all that, you know, mechanical knowledge is not going to help you much. You're going to be able to change gears, stop the car. This is what this is about. So get the basic maths, the rest of the fancy stuff down the line. Okay. Oh, we're on the same page with that. Good. Right. So silver, we got the gold, so leave the silver alone. If you prefer silver, stick with it. If you prefer gold, stick with it. Doesn't really matter. I have to know both. I do know both. But I mean, it's like buying WTI and buying Brent, either one or the other. Why buy them both? All you're doing is doubling up in oil. Well, that's not clever. You know what I mean? So if you're more comfortable with silver, stick with it instead of gold. But we could get a bounce on there, but we'll stick with the gold. We got it out there. But same sort of principle. Okay. Sometimes lag, and quite frankly, to be honest with you, to most people out there, it's not quite as sexy as gold. So more people follow gold, but don't know. You know, some people might prefer a BM to an Audi. I don't know why, but that's the way it is. There's no particular personal taste. So if you prefer it, go for it. Did we indeed? Okay. Well, thanks very much for telling we missed it, Edgen. Damn you. We should have told it before we missed it. We could all be made a fortune. Only joking. Okay, let's go over some of the trades then we looked at yesterday. AUD USD, nice in profit. We can write that off now because, yeah, it's just popped up a little bit. It might actually start popping up a bit. I think you might get a bit of a bounce here. So you might get stopped out in the profits. So we'll put a line through that, leave that. There's no point going back over and over and over the stuff again. That's now become history. What stuff we get out yesterday? That's right, the Euro CHF. We had a bit of fun there with Zeph and Ashley going long, and a couple of others went short, and probably even more didn't do anything at all. But anyway, we'll concentrate on the guys who did something with it. Where's EUR CHF? See how it's doing. It's not doing egg of a lot last time. That's popped up again. So at the moment, Ashley and Zeph are in the lead. If we had this about an hour and a half ago, my team were in the lead. So it's been hovering around the 80 mark since most of the last several hours, actually. In fact, since yesterday. Let's put on an hourly chart and see what I mean. There you are. It's been nicely down. So if we're looking back at what time, 2 or 3, 1 or 2 this morning, it was down at 60. So you think, the Rogers team is doing okay. But the Bulls now, not really much. It's only a couple of pips or so up, but they're slightly in charge at the moment, but it was down fairly nice in the middle of the night. So I was a winner at 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm not doing too well at the moment, but I'm not going to start giving up and saying I've lost for 3 sodding pips, if you get my point. Sorry, we just want to stick to one thing at a time. Come to that stuff in a minute. So we'll see how that pans out, but pretty even Stevens as we go. So the battle is still on, guys. Okay, now you're talking there about the euro dollar. You've got your faith in the euro, okay? What's a euro dollar? Euro dollar. Yeah, this is one will definitely be affected by the non-farms in either direction. Okay, came off nicely. It's popping up. Will it sustain the move upwards? I have no idea. Can't even begin to guess. I think what we're going to expect going forward is going to jump around in both directions. This is because the dollar, not the Swissy, not the Euro Canadian, not the Euro AUD, talk about the Euro dollar. The dollar being the main kingpin on this one. I think it's going to pop around. Expectations is going to be good for the dollar. It'll come off. If it's bad for the dollar, it'll go up. I think it'll be overall sideways going forward for the rest of the day. Okay, I don't think you're going to get massive movements on the euro dollar. Okay, whether it's going to go up or not, wait till upwards too. If you know that, then obviously you're privy to what is in Mr. Powell's announcement. Okay, well, Mr. Powell, and the figures are announced. Okay, I don't, and if you don't, it's just purely 50-50. Red or black, whichever your preference. Okay, right. Okay, so that's that one sorted. CHFJPY, we got back in again after taking profit on the first trade, got back in at 142.20. Where's it? CHFJPY. Hey, 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 hey. Whoa, 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 whoa. Of course it will, Etienne. Of course it will. Of course it will. It's not just the decision will affect it. That's after. You know, everyone waits for the decision. That's fine, but that then you're reacting after the information's out, and then will discount the market. Some of that euro information was on expectations, like I mentioned the last couple of days. Right, we got back in at 1,420. You moved your stop up. Some guys might still be in it. Some guys might not, and taking a profit. I know a lot of my guys have taken a profit already. If you're still in this trade, I assume you moved your stop because you're a good trading marine who attends the room and you learn by this. However, if you haven't, strongly suggest that you do, move it up to 143. You've built in 80 pips profit. You're sitting nice and pretty with an 80 pip profit, whatever happens. Okay. And see if it goes a bit higher. That turned out a real beaut. So that would go down as another winning trade from yesterday. Oh, God, this is good stuff. Europe better win, guys, the one shorted. We never last from Zeph and Ashley if they win. Oh, I'm worried more about that than the winning trade. I'm getting scared. But joking apart, we did very well on the Swiss JPY on the second time around. So it goes up anymore and you get stopped out. If it pulls back, we'll do another one on the way up. Okay, nice one. CAD JPY also did well. I think that's still doing pretty well. Yeah, look at that. CAD JPY. Don't know if anyone's still in that. It's doing very well. We got in again at 105.73 on the first. Today is the second, right? Yeah, that was yesterday. I think it was yesterday morning. That's 100 pips up. Clearly, you would not believe your stop in a lost position when you're 100 pips in profit. Not clever. So we're going to move that stop up to 106.50. So anybody still in the Canadian Japanese yen, we've got a seriously good, brilliant winning trade here. Put it up to 150. If you get stopped out, made a nice profit, and then just hope it pulls back so we can do it all over again. Good stuff. Exciting, eh? It's nice winning, isn't it? Remember seeing Sex in the City all those years ago. Forget her name now. The lead player and that lead lady. I forget her name now. It's the party. That's right. Yeah. And she says, "Winning, I thoroughly recommend it." And I totally agree. I concur. Right. So that's a nice one. So there we are. CHF JPY, a beaut winner. Canadian JPY, a beaut winner. A lot of worry on the Euro CHF. I've got my money on the down, you got your monies on the up. Let's see this. We're going into the final set of this one, into the tie break. Okay, see how that works out. That's having some fun. Great, you're still in it, Zeph, my hero. Make it 106.50. 106.50. And might ride it up. If it pulls back, you got a fantastic profit. Then hope it pulls back a lot more. So we can go in and do it all over again. Great stuff. And I don't know if anybody's still in the CHJPY. If you have, they get that stop up to 143 on the nail. That doesn't mean, guys, you buy into it if you're not on board. I've had that before as well. They take that as a buy signal. No, it does not. That ship sailed. I'm talking about the guys who are in. Move your stop to 143. You built in. I got in at 142.20, but I mean, what you guys got in. Round about that figure, you've got around about an 80 pip profit. Even if you lose and it comes, stops you out, oh no, you've only made 80 pip profit. Get the idea. So you cannot lose on it. That's the idea. Look after that side, the upside look after itself. These guys are going in too big, holding on to downside, thinking how much they're going to make. What amount should we make? Ignore that. Looking after equity management, look after downside, look after the risk side. Look after that, and the rest will take care of itself. Okay, hope we're all clear on that. Right, let's go back to something here. If the NFP comes positive, that candle going to shoot down. Oh, you don't know that. I want to discuss that. Hang on, let's have a look at this. Candle shoot down. Can cry, laugh, I'm staying out of the US dollar area. Well, not necessarily. If you can go to US dollar trade, if it's on the downside, you'll be very happy before 2:30. But if you're in a profit, just whack your bloody stop loss up to break even or something, and then it doesn't matter then. You get the idea. Now, the thing is, we don't know how the interpretation is going to be. let's just say the jobs report come up better than expectations. Okay, I showed you how yesterday afternoon how to get the economic calendar and save it in your browser. I've got it on my other screen. The expectation is 300,000, previously 528. Right, that's the expectation. Now let's just pretend it's better. Let's say it comes in at, I don't know, make it 400 or more thousand. What did, hang on. Hello, I'm in the trading room at the moment, Anifa. Can you WhatsApp me and I'll reply on the WhatsApp? Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, where was I? Yeah, okay, no, non-farm. So let's just say, this is my interpretation. Let's say expecting 300 and it comes, let's make it 450. It's a big difference, that's a large difference, 50% difference. That's positive on the jobs. That could be extremely positive on the dollar and negative on the stock market. And the reason being is because more people are getting work, because they're going to spend more and it's going to add to inflation. Get it? Now, when you have an 8.5% and they want to get it to 2%, what is the instrument they use to bring inflation down? It's interest rates. So the presumption will be, if it's the job report comes in much better than expected, it'll be inflationary, okay? Sorry, I will clap in a minute. So it's flash geometry. It'll be inflationary. Are you with me? So therefore, the guys will be thinking, aha, now it's more likely, almost certainly, instead of 50 basis, again 75 base interest, and then they'll start looking maybe a full 1%. I'm not sure that's going to go. It's going to be pretty drastic, that. But let's say they expect that, which means you're getting a surge in the dollar. You get the idea. So whether it's positive, negative, it depends on what position you're in and which way you're looking at it. That's why I say be careful that non-farms, because even if it comes out better than expected or less than expected figures that come out, the actual, is better or less than expected, it might not have the effect on your trade that you thought it might do, because those other influences come into it. Hope that makes sense. Yeah, CAD JPY hit TP. Well, that's bloody great news. That's all right. It's marvelous, brilliant. What was it? What it was? 106.65. Oh, you're quite right. Yeah, good point there. So you're not in whether you like it or not. So you can't modify your stop loss anyway. It's TP. Oh, shame. Okay. Hope that makes sense, Zef. Okay, happy with that period. Never mind the Spanish, not worry about that. Been to Spain, love it. Wouldn't mind emigrating there, actually. Love it, but not too worried about that. Okay, so I'm moving along. It's hit the TP. Just notice here, 65 is the TP. It's hitting the TP, so we're all right with that one. Okay, where's that? Well, on that subject, where's that CHF JPY going? Still hovering around 1.3. Okay, that's fine. So I just got to read that WhatsApp there. Just didn't make head or tail of it. It's quite poor. Okay, right. Okay. What's gold doing? I want to get greedy now. No, leave it. Okay. Okay, where were we? Okay, right. Sorry about is when you're trying to contact me in the trading room, they ask me stuff without giving me a lot of information. And then I can't spend half an hour drawing it out. So if you want something, I can reply, but you've got to be clarity and give full information. Otherwise, just say, what do you think of that trade? I mean, I need a bit more than that. Okay, I've been sitting there, say, for a week now on the sell. What do you think? Slightly, good idea. Let's look at that. Well, I immediately think NZD sell is the correct one against the Canadian, so I'm happy so far. What's it doing at the moment? Okay, right, where is it? NZD. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Let's give it a bit more info. Good. Yeah, there it is. See, that's up there. This is down here and it's below both. So you want to be going short. I'm happy with that. We know Canadians are heavyweight. That's the middleweight. So we want to sell the middle against the heavyweight. We're happy with that. My only worry is it Mike? Yeah, sorry, it's Mike. Hi, Mark. Good stuff. Yeah, hi, Mark. My only worry, basically, I don't know if you did all right in the NAS, by the way. Did get the bounce expected there, Mark? Whether you do or not, I'm sure. Anyway, yeah, with this particular one, my only problem is it seems to have hit a bit of a brick wall, this resistance, and when it tried to go through it, you see my point? I can't get this crosshair up anymore. When it went down, the came in again. So if you're in a bit of a profit, it's my only worry. Look at that resistance. You can see clearly on the crosshair, you got some resistance at the market price where it is now, and it tried to break through, and then the buyers came back in again. So it looks a little bit sort of iffy at the moment. You say a little bit of profit, no disrespect, doesn't mean a lot to me. What you determine a little bit of profit. And don't say it 10 Rand or 100 Rand or 1,000 Rand. You've got to talk in pips, because 1,000 Rand is, and a million Rand account is 5 or 6 pips. You know what I mean? So, yeah, depends on your account size. I'm not aware of that. It's sort of, I don't have enough information to make a comment on it. Sorry, it's flashing stuff on the screen at me still. Okay, it's all right, I'm just going to reply to this. Right, so yeah, that's my worry, is because some of these instructions I'm losing the thread. Well, that's my worry. It seems to be quite strong resistance there, and the fact that wick is there means being defended. So if you're in a profit, it seems to be holding below 0.8. I can't make that call. I'd be a little bit nervous now. Is it going to bounce from here? I prefer to be short. Even if it bounces, it might break through next time around. I find this one quite difficult to call. Yes, that is. Thank you, Mike. If you're 38 pips profit, I would suggest you, instead of taking it, I would suggest you maybe put your stop loss at break even, so you can't lose. And if it breaks through, you're on board. If it doesn't, you can't lose anyway. I'm always a bit reluctant to say take the profit, and it does break through, and you made 38 pips when you could have made 100. You know what I'm saying? Because I agree with the trade, I agree with the downside, everything else I agree with. It's just that bit of resistance you need back into breakthrough. And then to get the follow through from there. So instead of taking the profit, just a suggestion, bring it down to 38 is a decent way away, bring it down to break even, and if it breaks through, great stuff, and it doesn't, you're not going to lose. That's probably the best. Okay, well, that's different. I hate to say, I'm sorry, guys, I'm going to stop. You know what shouts the loudest? Not me, but money. Right, okay, let's stop this. Okay, right. Just give me a second, because there's a big sum of money involved. Forgive me on this. Okay, yeah. Sorry about that, but the big sum of money is being involved there, so fine. Okay, so that's clear, Mike. Is it PAMO or PIMO? I don't pronounce it properly. I know in English they say F for PH. So maybe I don't think the pronunciation says P. You've got an interesting little sign there. Not quite sure what that means. Excuse my ignorance. Okay. It gets turned down for the last hour or so. Yeah. Where's gold at the moment? A good point there, actually. I think we can get a bit of a bounce of gold. If you missed it, it's below 704, Ashley and company there, so you can join it if you want. I'll put it up again. I want a $10 stop. So we'll do the 10, we'll stick the $10 stop at 16, what's it now? Make it 16.93. There we are. 93 is stop. If you've got it cheaper, leave the stop where it is. Make it 17.20. Okay, do this quickly for those who missed it. If you want to do it, it's 17 bucks a micro, work it out, bung the order in as the buy, and then put the SL and TP in afterwards. Once it gets to above 705, if it does, we'll talk about something else, and when you guys notice it, please draw my attention to it. I'm going to mute you all, by the way. Well, I've muted you all. Please draw my attention to that, and then we'll have a look at getting that moved. Because I want that stop moved, so we're nicely set in place before the non-farms and before 11 o'clock, because obviously we're not doing another session later on today. So yeah, just remind me if you do go in and it does pop above 705, etc. on the sell, not on the buy, on the bid, not on the ask. If we can do that, just let me know and I'll revisit the stop loss so you're all protected whatever happens. Okay. Oh, nothing more. I thought I was learning something, some sort of fantastic hieroglyphic, something like that. Okay. Me personally, I'm not doing one. I think they're sending out a video. I think the office, the management's sending out a video in the office or something, which I think Ashley's doing, but I'm not sure. But we're not doing one, no. But, we tried it a few times, Leah Teeley, but it's cost time, effort, money, and more time, etc. And the attendance rate wasn't that good. I mean, we don't mind providing, but if we don't get the attendance, not much point. You know, if you're not going to put a concert on, if we need 10 people to rock up, same sort of principle. So, it's discuss it here if you like. Okay, Lorenzo, good stuff. Nice to have you. Catch you on Monday. I'm on Monday, Tuesday. Ash is back on Wednesday. So hopefully I'll catch you on Monday. Okay, good enough. But we just quickly keep an eye on that for me, guys. See what's happening. Just a second. Let's send this off. Sorry about that, guys. Just do a quick watch. I've got to reproduce it. Okay, where were we? Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so there you are. If you join gold, you join gold. Right, okay. We covered this, we hit this TP and CAD JPY, so don't worry about that anymore. Ah, yeah, our good friend at Euro CHF. Do I want to look at this? I've got to look away. I've got to look away. Oh, no. Oh, not much happened there. What a damp squib. It came off great, gone up, no boo, but still the same. Very quiet, probably maybe quiet yesterday. And it's not a dollar, but still it might be. whatever. Just having a bit of fun, guys. Growing up's not my strong point. Anyway, yeah, where were we? So we've covered those. We're in profit on those. Anything else you'd like to discuss? Oh yeah, look at the US dollar, Japanese yen. Now, as I thought, it's at dizzying heights and has to come down. So I went to monthly and zoomed out. Boy, was I wrong. Well, no, that's a good point. That's a very good point. This is Mark. Yeah. This is one of the things I do have against things like stochastics and RSIs. I want to put one on to show what I mean to guys, if you don't mind. We'll do that first. Bonolo, see what she just did then? She put on a trade we want to look at. She put that on. Never mind what I'm talking about or anyone's talking about, that comes first. So we'll go back to that now because you're not getting to it. I just want to do this lady first. I think it's a lady, Bonolo, GBP JPY. Right, GBP JPY, here we are. All right, we can check it with pleasure. Now, remember, Bonolo and guys, the pound is on the lower end of the middleweight section. So you get, let's say you get the lightweight here, the middleweight here, the heavyweight there. You'll have the Aussie dollar and the New Zealand in this area in the middleweight section. The pound is in this sort of area. It's bordering going to lightweight, where we've got the yen and the euro in this area. You're strengthening a bit. Don't get me wrong, Zeph and company. And actually, strengthening a bit. I'll give you a due on that, but it's still in that area. So this is a sort of light middleweight to a lightweight scenario. Okay, so yeah, that is being pushed forward, my theory, and by look what's happening on those candles on the daily. As it goes down, look at those wicks, the buyers are coming in. As it goes up, look at those wicks, the sellers are coming in. So what's it doing? It's going nowhere slowly. So it's not something I would want to go into buy or sell. I don't know if you're in it. I'm checking it here. You haven't given me information whether you're in it or checking or you want to enter it, or you're saying check it. So I'm just going to assume you're not in it. If you're not in it, I would stay that way. I would not go into that. It's not enough to go in either direction. And the last thing you want to be doing, you're having your capital tied up going nowhere. Well, the worst thing is, I suppose, you're making a loss. But the next thing is it's going nowhere. So you haven't got enough capital to go into anywhere else because it's tied up in this one. Okay, you're not happy. Well, if you're not in it, it should be irrelevant. But if you're not in it, it doesn't matter. But don't go into it. Leave it alone. Sideways, it's going nowhere. They're pretty evenly matched. Japanese might get a little bit stronger, if anything. The pound might get a bit weaker. There's not that much difference anymore. It's like putting the Japanese yen there and the pound here. So the CAD is in this direction, heavyweight against the lightweight. You know what I mean? So that's the perfect one to buy the heavy and obviously sell the lightweight. But this one is clearly no. I wouldn't be buying it, selling it. I'll do anything with it. So if you're not in it, which I'm glad you're not, leave it alone. Okay, good. Moving back. Very important. Thanks for your contribution. Very important. Right. Going back, US dollar, Japanese yen. Ah, that's right. I was going to do. Let's put relative strength in the game. Everyone's over that. We all seem to line up. Just oscillate, they call it. What's the difference? Oscillate is supposed to lead. Trend's supposed to follow. Nonsense. They all lack the price action. Obviously, everything does. Otherwise, we'd know what's going to happen. It's like giving tomorrow's news today. Doesn't make sense, does it? Right. Okay. Let's put on the 41 there. The problem with the RSI, it's going into, let's say, overbought high levels when it gets up to this level here. It's about 70, they call it. That's got about 80% there. The trouble is it can't go any higher than this level here. It cannot do that. It's limited in that range. But that doesn't stop the instrument price continuing up forever. Let's take Amazon a few years ago when you bought it for, let's say, $100, and it kept going up. Right, by the time it got to $1,000, what are RSI, the oscillators, all going to say? Really high, right up here, overbought level. So we don't want to be joining it now, do we? Absolutely not. Just look at the RSI. Well, no, because it went up to 2,000, 3,000, went about $3,500 at one stage. It's continued going up, despite this, and that would just remain in the high zone because it cannot go any higher, number one. Number two, what does that tell you? The RSI is telling you it's high. No kidding, guys. No sodding kidding. Forget this. Look at that. Does that tell you it's high? Why do you need that to tell you it's high when it tells you there it's high? So the point I'm trying to come to, I got scared yesterday. I got scared to sell the euro dollar. I got scared to buy this one, but I got scared to chase it. I did, but never mind. I've got other instruments to look at. So be it. But it doesn't mean to say I'm right being scared. Well, I'm right being scared. I didn't lose it. I didn't go into it, but I could have gone into it. And to discuss that before, should we? I must say, mitigation of myself. 139.36.40. Should we go for this? Because I still see upward movement. The dollar's pretty strong. And well, I wasn't that confident. Nobody else was, so we left it. And it went up a bit further because the dollar continued up to the 110, like I, to be honest, patterns on the back, maybe showing of it, predicted. Okay, so it did get to the 110, although it wasn't a particularly amazing prediction, it did. All right, you're with me. So it got to the 110. Now I think it's a bit high. Now we're seeing the DXY pulling back a tad. You get what I'm saying with that. So it's pulling back a tad, and I think this yen might fall off a bit. Now you say, yeah, well, it's just broken through. We can see that now, and it's having a nice daily opened up above that breakthrough. There's nothing to stop it going back to 143. I haven't got a problem with that. I'm just saying that, personally speaking, I could be wrong, Mark. I might be chicken once again. I've done this many times, but I just personally think I will not, with my money, join it now. I think we might get a bit of pullback, and I want to buy it, but I think I'd like to buy it at a better price. But there's nothing to stop it going up further because it is very, very weak compared to a very strong currency. I hope that all makes sense. Are you with me on that? So you weren't wrong. It was fair reasons. You know, you would have been wrong if you decided to go and sell short there. Even if it did come off a bit, you'd have been wrong because you're selling it very strong against that would have been wrong. But otherwise, what your theory on that was not wrong. We discussed it, and let's be fair. We thought it's a bit high now, maybe get a better price. We were just missing out. That's fair enough. A long time ago. Yeah, well, yeah, was a fair bit. Yeah. Pre-9/11, eh? Okay, I hope that's all good. So I'm not knocking the indicators. Some you need to know, and a lot of people do well with them, swear by it. My problem is they lag the price action. They're limited in the parameters they can move up to, but the instrument isn't. That can show a high here. Where's this now? It can show a high here in this level, and it's still showing the same here, but the price is very different. And that can go up to 150, 160, 170. This can't go up any higher. So that is nothing wrong with them as long as you know their limitations. Rather look at the price action through the candle, use those moving averages for support, not for lagging indicator. Another moving average is lagging indicator. It's giving you the filter, it's giving you support, resistance, and you get to know what's happened to the buy and sell by looking at the candle. That will give you immediate information, which in my opinion is far more valuable. They're going for different algorithms on different settings for different indicators. We're all telling you what's happened after it has happened, if you get my point. I'm quite strong on this, so I get a bit passionate, excuse me. And I'm convinced that a lot of guys are calling themselves all this stuff and they don't know what a contract size is and don't know how to work out the position size. Well, you know, you might be an expert in mechanics, but if you don't know how to put your foot on the brake, when you see a red robot, you're going to be a problem. This guy uses the RSI to show momentum. Just as I'm going to reply to this quickly. Okay, someone's just want to go in for gold there. Is it still okay to go into gold? Well, just give a look, just a second. Some DS. Mine's coming off still good. Gold there. Okay, this guy uses the RSI to show momentum. Well, we know the momentum. I want to discuss this actually with the guys. I want your opinion on this. Look, never mind the RSI, ignore that part there. Look at this. Where's the momentum here? Is that up or down? Get my point, okay? He has 85, 15, and use the RSI for divergence. Oh, divergence, yeah, you get, right, it's a different ballgame. That's what you mean now. Right, when it's going up, okay, and then the RSI stochastic fail to confirm, in other words, they're looking to start poking their head down. That's showing a slight negative, and that's the positive. We call that negative divergence, and technically, it's looking like there could be a pullback. That's negative and positive divergence. That I take. That would say there's one area does, for me, has some uses. But I still think I can overcome that by looking at a very strong, give an example. That's a high there. Let's pretend, just pretend this is up here there, and this is up here there. So you've got 2 or 3, or you make it 4 candles of strong resistance there, okay? And you see the DXY start to come off. That would be a stronger sort of divergent pullback. I wouldn't be selling it, a pullback to get out of my long to look to get in at a better price, rather than worrying about a negative divergence there to sell a strong instrument down. Hope that wasn't too complicated. Yeah, above that indicates bullish. Okay. Treating this out. The RSI is above the 50 indicates bullish momentum. If the RSI indicates use others to get moving average, but the way I use it is actually one to make catch from. I've seen people use enough trends to shoot as or hand which for some yeah, well, depends. Yes, I mean, works for you, works for us. Anyway, maybe someone cop out that comment. I'm just trying to give you the overall scenario to make your own choice. We all know about different strategies in different areas, always worth learning, but don't get what they call paralysis by analysis. Say, paralysis by analysis. Okay, so I don't want you to start sort of changing your swing every time we go out to play golf. That will confuse more than anything else. Just try and look at the area. I hear about negative and positive divergence. I get that, but that doesn't need to lead me to say I would sell the Japanese yen. Sorry, sell the dollar Japanese yen. It means I would take my and wait for a pullback to buy it again, keeping an eye on other factors like economic trends, like interest rates, increasing inflation on the US front, and the dollar index. That to me is far more valuable than some line that follows this thing here on the area there. Does that make sense? I have a lot of time for techno analysis. I use it a lot. We have to have it. And in the past, remember, things change. In the past, people said it made about 80% of trading. I'm saying now it makes up probably about 60% of trading because of the advent of the cell phone now, the smartphone now. I think fundamental and basic economic understanding on the macroeconomic worldwide area is important because that makes a larger factor than it did in the past. And some guys have been trading 30 years forget that you know, times have changed. Does that sort of make sense? I want to not say it was my idea or not. I'm just putting it out there so you can make an objective, informed opinion rather than going to just a narrative bias, if you see what I mean. Yeah, I think Ashley nicknamed me. I'm not quite sure why, actually. I think he's teasing me somewhere. It was a long time ago since I got my astrophysics PhD, to be honest. That was quite simply a lie. It was quite recent. No, I mean, obviously, I've got a PhD. That takes intelligence. But I just want to give you the overall picture. Okay, before we go too much banter on the Friday, so you can understand, and then you can make your informed decision. Because I find people naturally push their own bias or narrative to understand the human trait. And it's worked for me the last 50 years. I'm not changing now. Well, is it working? And things have changed. I'll give you some example. Warren Buffett, he's taken some major losses the last few years because he's been one way to go in, send the accounts in, on a smaller company and buy in for the long term. Fine, but the problem is that things are so changing out there through technology that the long term now means you're still trying to sell LP records or cassette tapes or CDs when it's changed. And you get the idea. You've got to keep up more things because they change so much quicker than they were in Warren Buffett's side. You get the idea. Well, none of them actually, to be honest, getting very technical here, to add confluence as well. Well, I like it. Actually, I've heard we've been doing a couple of months, getting a highly bloody upmarket here. Holy hell. Right, okay, fair enough, good enough. Yeah, I mean, and none of them I don't think are on their own are good enough. You know what I'm saying? You've got to have an idea. I'm not going to suddenly sell the dollar and buy the yen just because of one indicator looks like it's giving a sell. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to still stick with buying the pullback. I might look to take profit rather than actually selling it. I certainly wouldn't do it on a candlestick. That's the last thing I'd do. That's just a confirmation. You need at least a couple to give you and an overall background. I mean, for instance, I'm seeing the RSI crossing there on the negative convergence on the Canadian Japanese yen, and the oil price is going up. I'm not going to sell to Canada and buy the yen. You get the idea. I'm not shocked at all. I've known that for a while. Known that for a while, yeah. Yeah. Who else is? I think it was in Led Zeppelin as well. Had some brainy guys in there. But yeah, and not just Brian May. I think there was a couple others. Not Freddie Mercury. No, he was a singer and a talent, obviously. But I think one of the other guys also had degrees as well. I think the same with Pink Floyd. But yeah, he was an astrophysicist. Yeah. And he married, who did he marry? He married that famous, I think, soap opera lady in the UK. She's been Coronation Street. Anyway, that's going off the subject now. Anyway, okay, so you come in here, you pick bits and pieces up, and you form what's comfortable for you. I just want to get an overall picture, and vitally, don't overcomplicate. We don't want to have massive these indicators. You're priced by analysis, and then when you do go in 10 years later, you've got the perfect storm. Fundy comes out and he goes and stops you out. Okay. You excel at rabbit trails. Sorry, Mark, it went over my head there. Oh, okay. Okay, I didn't know that one. Rabbit trails changed up, didn't know that one. Well, I reckon intelligence is, if so you know that much, you must be intelligent. Not necessarily. What intelligence is to be able to change direction and what actually is transferring knowledge into sense at speed. That's what it basically is. Just because you know about something, you read it somewhere, you know. It's like Newton. He thought it out. That's the genius. Learning, it takes a bit of intelligence, but learning what already been worked out by some previously is studying. It's not completely, I've got a bad memory, so I'm slightly different, but that's not really enormous intelligence. It's working something out. That's where those clever guys do it. Yeah, well, I think we've missed that one. We've got into a gold as a highly aggressive trade, Osborne, around about the 17, what have I got it down here this morning at 1702 for aggressive. We're going against the trend. That's why it's super aggressive because it's oversold territory. I'm going to get rid of this because it's confusingly annoying you guys. Oversold territory. So we've got it at 1702 with a tight stop to take it up to 1720. But if it takes up 1705 or 1706, we can move that stop up because we don't want to be in the trade. Well, we do want to be in the trade, but we want to make sure our stop is protecting us by 2:30 when the non-farm payrolls come out, because the last thing you want to do is have your stop at 16.90 or something, and then something desperate goes wrong and stops you out in the loss when you're already in a profit. So the idea is getting to 1702, expecting a bit of a bounce. It's going against the trends. I explain that clearly, those who want to do it. And if we can get some movement up, The dollar index is coming off a little bit. Once it gets above 1705 on the bid, not on the ask, we can move the stop up to 1702 and let it run. If it's stopped out, you don't lose. And if the non-farms come out, you can then, let's set it to 1712. Move your stop to maybe 1710 or 1708, 1709 or something. You've got a profit anyway. If you get stopped out, you made money. If it shoots into your favor, then you make even more. That's the general sort of prognosis we've taken, Osborne. Okay. I'm not sure I should be joining it now, to be honest. I'd like to have joined it at 1702. It's a fairly hairy one, this one. So I want to be a bit more precise on the entry level. So I'm not sure I'd like you to chase it now. It's close to 1705 on the ask if you're going long, which is a little bit more than I like. It means I want to stick with the 1690. What have we got to stop at? 1692. It's extending the risk and reducing the profit potential going against the trend. So leave it alone for the moment. That's for the guys who got in around about 9:30, just after. Okay. The other trades, we hit the TP on the CAD JPY, if you're still in that one, so that was a beaut. And we modified stop on the other one. These are trading room guys I've been advising on, which is the CHF JPY. Where is it now? CHF, where is it now? Yeah, CHF JPY, got it 141.20 or 142.20. That was the second. We pulled back. We took a second one after taking profit on the first one, CHF JPY. Okay, and then that was 100 pips in profit. So I said, move the stop up to 143. So you got 80 pips, whatever happens. If it goes up further, great. It's looking like it's come to a bit of resistance there. It might break through. If it doesn't, you stopped at 80 pip profit. If you're still on board and it goes through, we'll modify and take more money out of it. So those were two winning trades. One's hit the TP. This one was 143.25. I might have done it already because that was a TP. 130. Just a second. 125. Sorry, wrong one. Yeah, it's actually hit the TP. So it's too late anyway. If you had the TP as I had the trading room, Canadian and the Swiss franc thing, those two hit the TP. What a pleasure. Okay. So leave gold alone for the moment, yeah. The other one was a Euro CHF. Here we got a bit of a bull versus bear sort of competition. Don't know if anything's happening on that one. Still even Stevens. Still juice on that one. The bulls and the bears, neither in control. It's still the same. We've got 97.80. It's 1 pip in favor of the bulls. No, it's not. 0 in favor of the bulls, 0 in favor of the bears. So nothing happening there. Gbp Cad was another one. We had a sell on that one. Who was that one? You're quite right. What about that one? Where was that? We had that out. Gbp Cad is written down here. Ah, yes, that's right. We had it out yesterday as a sell at 52.78. Gbp Cad. Right. I don't know if anyone's still in it. If they are, I assume you modified. If you haven't, modify your stop loss. I would get it down to 52.20, 1.5220, which means that therefore you're on 60 pip profit if you get stopped out. If you don't get stopped out, you're in more profit because at the moment it's just under 100 pips in profit. What a pleasure. Don't join it now. I would say I would be a little bit nervous about joining it now, but it's trying to break through yesterday, and look, a few buyers came in. You can see the wick there. You can see it there, and it's trying there. It's trying to go up. The sellers are coming and giving you due. So hold on if you're in. I wouldn't be keen to join it if you're not. If you're so obsessed with buying it, Mark, I can't. The only way to overcome the obsession is to buy it. I'll give you a tip to have your cake and eat it. Go in for 0.01. with a 10 pips stop, so you're risking $1. How's that? And then if you're right, you've overcome your obsession, your loss. Even you, with your electricity bills, I think you can suffer that jumping out off the Eiffel Tower, a $1 loss. So how about that? There you are. Now there, see, Mark, I'm glad you put that last thing in. This is, I'm going to extrapolate what you said that to the masochism of the human race. I'm obsessed and I lost so much last month. Remember the expression, keep them keen and treat them mean. Simple as that. I'm obsessed with it to buy it, to go up, and I lost so much, but so I'll lose some more on it. Yeah, that is typical human psychology. Okay, if you want to do that with pleasure. Put it at 210 lows, that's fine. Whatever blows your hair back. From your picture, you got a fair whack of that. A lot more than me anyway. just teasing, but and just stubbornness, yeah. Well, that's quite common, yeah. I'm going to make this come right. It kills me. 50 years later of a terrible marriage, you're still trying to make it come right, even though you've been arguing since the day after your honeymoon. I know. I'm stubborn. I'm going to make this damn marriage work. Okay, so it's coming off nicely. It's still doing just fine. Hold on to it. 152.20 is your stop, and that's another winning trade. What a pleasure. I've got a feeling I'm getting ahead of myself here. I think that Euro CHF is going to screaming up, and I'm never going to get a last trip from Ashley and Seth's left. Thank goodness. Just Ashley will have to deal with. Oh, no. Risk reward for what? Sorry, Spindley. Oh, he's still there. Oh, damn. I thought you'd left. Damn. If that goes up, I'm not doing the trade. I'm repeat off sick, get out of the trade on Monday. And don't say, yay, it'll hurt my feelings. Risk reward on what? Okay, GBP CAD. What do you want to do with it? You want to buy it or sell it? We're on the GPC, stupid boy. Roger, wake up. What do you want to do? He wants to buy it. Do you want to buy this thing? You want to sell it? Yeah, yeah. All right, you want to sell it. Where are we going to put the stop loss then? Put it up here. How far does that take? A long way away. Stop loss up here. How's that? Maybe, yeah, still over 120 pips away. Take it down to maybe 1.15 if you want to sell it. 2010. I don't have enough information to go back 12 years. So you can use Mark if you want to do that. I'm strongly suggesting everyone else don't join it now, but I'll put it on for you guys if you like. Make it there. I'll make it 1.5. There we are. Could do that. Could well do it. If anyone wants to join that one. No, it's not going to work, is it? You're going to have to do it. Maybe I can't make it a tighter stop than that. I don't want to make a tighter stop. Make it maybe a little bit tighter. Make it maybe 1.5290. There we are. So that might squeeze it. Just about squeeze it. It's not ideal. There you are. If you want to do that, there's your choice. I'm keen. We could well do that. If you're flying up, you have the last laugh. Trouble is, think old Mark wants to buy it. But there you are. If you want to sell it, there you are. Anyone to join? We'll get this right. Sipandili. Hope I got it right. Anybody want to join Sipandili on this one? That's a good idea, Mark. Yeah. And Ashley and Zeph, you can do it as well. Good idea. You two short it as well. Trouble, I might do that and end up being a fantastic winner. Even more ridiculous. You're going to take it, Alfred? All right, then go for it. 150 bucks is the micro risk. 300, 2 micros. So you get the idea. There you are. Shut me up. Everyone seems to like it. There you are. So everyone likes it. We'll put it down then. Okay. I might end up looking the fool on this one. I'm scared. That's my only real reason. I see some downside continuing. I know that about that. I'm scared to go that far. But anyway, all right, we've got that one. GBP CAD. That's the consensus of the TR Marines. Sell, and we got in at 151.80. That's right. 1.5180, 1.5000, and 1.5290. And whose idea is that? Sipandili. I won't put down your idea, Mark, because you wanted to go along with it. But definitely the sell zone, yeah. I said you wouldn't be buying it, no. Might get a bounce, but I would say like the gold, an aggressive bounce for the short term. But this one isn't. The overall picture is down here. The pound is not good. I mean, I listen to GB News sometimes in the morning, and fuel costs and they're battling to live on. The cost of living's gone up, transport costs and all that. And waiting now for who's going to be prime minister coming up. Inflation is high, so the pound's not so lekker. And they don't have all the resources that Canada has. So, yeah, down is the way to go on this one. Okay, well, there we are. Simandili, well done, mate. Overcome my fear and took the bull by the horns. And by the way, Ashley, I did mention to you your namesake, Ashley, who sent me a mail in the strategy room this morning. And I said I had some fun. I put up a short, and Ashley said that she's looking at the long with Zeph. And I thought, great, the guys are thinking on their own, having their own opinions, which is good. The only thing I disagree with it, I disagree with mine. So I'm fairly dictatorial. Apart from that, well done. So I agree with everything what you say, unless it disagrees with me, then you're wrong, automatically. Okay, right. Getting the weekend sort of feeling coming in here, eh? Especially when I had a couple of trades at the TP, then it's a natural characteristic of mine. I start talking more rubbish than I normally do. And yes, it is possible. But I think you'll put up with rubbish talk by myself and banter. The trades come right. Hey, let's have that gold doing anything. Let's have a look. Still hovering around the 1704 mark. What's the NAS doing? Can I knock this off now? NASDAQ, what's that doing? Easing its way up, bit slow. Don't expect any fireworks in the NAS till 2:30. Okay. Okay, anything else you'd like to revisit in the meantime? All the trades are good or hit TP or win, so anyone like to look for something? Oh, got that one there, see how that goes. Anyone like to look for something in the meantime? I'm a bit wary of a dollar trade, but if you do it and you get your stop loss and profit, like I mentioned before, non-farms, then you can't lose on it. That's not a problem. All right, let's do a quick exercise. We've only got 15 minutes to go. See the CAD CHF. I want somebody now to have the nerve, the courage to maybe unmute and speak or whatever, and say what you think of the CAD CHF as a potential trade. If you think it's good, reasons why. If you think it's a negative or a positive or a leave it alone, anyone have the nerve, after what they've learned in the trading room, to have an opinion on this and have the nerve to say it? Whether it be Philip or Ashley or Farney or somebody out there, anybody have an opinion. Someone's even less experienced, who've only been doing this for a couple of months, even they would be more preferable, and it shows what they learned short term. And that will encourage people who've just started to think, my God, 10 years later, I might know something. If somebody can learn that in 2 or 3 months, what a pleasure. I put it on purpose, this particular pair. I want someone to try and help me out on this one. Of course it will. Of course it will. Absolutely, Jacob. So anyone want to unmute? I think you're unmuted, just make sure. Yep. So anyone want to give an opinion on this one? I pulled it out for a purpose. I just want someone to give me a bit of opinion on it. And there's not much movement, that's obvious, but I want to say why you'd take it or you wouldn't take it, and why you'd go long or short. Never mind anything else, just give an overall little rundown on it from what you've learned. Apart from there's not much movement on it. Does anyone like to see possibly a buy here or a sell here, or if they see a leave it alone, what's the reason behind it? Someone could unmute and be, come on, someone's got to have the courage there. I must just switch my phone off right after this meeting, okay. Well, it's in the buy zone, okay. So that means, Philip, you'd buy this, is that correct? Never mind, you think that's good for a buy. Okay, 4 hour. Seen the 4 hour there? And now we look at the hour. Ah, right, go for it. Come on, go for it. Anybody, come on. There's 50 still left, somebody. Thank you, Etienne. Spoil the party for all the others. You're quite right. Absolutely. That's exactly it. I would leave it alone. Not talking about the price action, I'd leave it alone. It's in the buy area at the moment, but it's not fully in the buy area. Half the wick is not in it. It's not there, or a quarter of the wick. You know what I mean? If it was all above it, you might look at it. I'm Etienne on that one. That's exactly my opinion. I wouldn't touch it because Canada and the Swiss franc are fairly even Stevens on strength. So you're putting a heavyweight against a heavyweight. Remember, you want to put a heavyweight against a middleweight, or ideally against a lightweight. So you'll turn around and say, why do you put a lightweight every time? Because the ship might have sailed. You might not get a decent entry. So then you've got to look for middleweights. It would be very hesitant to go for heavyweight against heavyweight, because it might end up on points, the decision, which way is it going to go. It's tough enough as it is, like adding to difficulties. So Etienne's spot on, in my opinion, purely my opinion, from the trading room. Obviously, you've been learning there, Etienne. I'm quite impressed there. I wouldn't touch it for that. I wouldn't buy it, I wouldn't sell it, I'd completely leave it alone. Only train. Sorry.
One of them was not able to. So she needs 500.
So that's just background. Okay. Yeah, unless something radically changes, the oil price comes down to 70, the Canada drops into the middle to weaker zone, the Swiss franc has another increase in interest rates on the macroeconomic level, different ballgame. Now, be Swissy and so the Canadian. Until that occurs, I wouldn't be going for it. Yeah, well, for that reason alone, it's a bit noisy, leave it alone. We're on a 1 hour chart. Well, let's go back to the day chart, give a bit of longer term perspective on it. Look at the wicks there anyway. As it goes up, the sellers come in. No follow through, goes down to sell it. No follow through, the buyers come in. That is a major reason just looking at it. Completely agree, Osborne and company, but I wouldn't be that keen anyway, because I'm a bully. I want to I want to have someone who's got no chance against me when I get into that boxing ring. You know what I mean? I want to be against a lightweight, preferably if I can't find entry against a middleweight. I don't want to be facing a heavyweight. NZD is a middleweight, Japanese is a lightweight. So therefore, I'll be looking to buy before I even looked at it. You with me, guys? Now I'm going to look at it and I'm going to see, can I find an entry? Where is the, see, right down here. See, right down there. So it's in the buy zone, but we expected that because we know that's middle and that's a lightweight before we looked at it. The problem is now we want to find an entry. So we know we want to buy it, but we can't find an entry because it's right at resistance and it's popped up before and it hasn't been sustained the follow through. Let's say we took a previous one, which happened 11th of August, which is nearly a month ago. What gravy have we got? So what meat on the bone have we got? We've got, what happened there? Wrong thing, I went this one here. We've got a potential upside, there are 70 pips. That's not much meat in the bones. We're going to put the stop down here, 70 pips stop, not worth it. So this one, right at resistance, can't get a risk reward, and it's a middleweight against, not a heavyweight, a middle against a lightweight. If this was the US dollar against the yen at that level, I might consider put the TP up higher, and I'd quite happy with the stop down there, and I might even preempt the breakthrough. But I ain't going to do it on this pair. Does that make sense, Marumo? Good stuff. These things I want you to be picking up because it's not right to waffle away at length long. Some of this stuff is sticking. Even at very high levels, and it's borne out. I'm not just talking here. I mean, I'm bouncing back and forth a bit, you know, but most of the trades seem to be okay. So maybe there might be something in it. So I want you to see. Even at the very high levels, I would rather go long on the CHF because the fundamental we could, yeah, CHF on the medium to long term with the correct risk reward will work out. That's exactly what I think. Yeah. Okay, so that's what I particularly want the CAD CHF out. That's my same feeling if we go to this one here, US dollar Canadian. They're both heavyweights, so it's come back a bit. But if you want to sell that, you're selling the dollar, which at the moment is the strongest of all of them. If you want to buy it, sure, but you haven't got much follow through, as you can see, and you're buying against another pretty strong one as well. Any increase in the oil price, which I think can happen, it's pretty low at the moment. We could get a bounce, we'll continue some strength there. So there's other ones to pick, which are better. You know what I'm saying? You've got to, who you think you're going to win? You're going to see an old bugger like me against a little 10-year-old in the ring, or an old bugger like me against another old bugger like me. I think you'd probably bet on me against a 10-year-old. You know what I'm saying? So rather pick that one. Yeah, CHF JPY could still get more upside, absolutely, yeah. I put this sort of funny language because it's sort of a bit of comedy involved and something you can relate to in other areas. It takes some of the mystique out and hopefully it makes more sense. That's why I often use relationships or a house or a car, something one's familiar with, and see the similarity. And it gets the overall picture clearer instead of worrying all these fancy bloody algorithms, you know. Yeah, well, that's exactly it. You can see the more upside because you're on board. But if you're not on board, you wouldn't be joining it because you're buying near the ceiling. Look up the ceiling. You want to be buying near the floor, at least the lower half. You want to be buying to go to Durban, the Joburg side of Harrismith. You don't want to be buying to go to Durban in Pietermaritzburg with your stop loss in Pretoria, do you? It's not worth it. It's not Powell's announcement. It's Henny. It's not Powell. Good stuff, Ed Jim. On the same page. It's not Powell's announcement. He's the chairman of the Fed. I get that. He does the FOMC meetings, but it's an overall announcement which will come out, Powell and no Powell, at 2:30 on a Friday until they change the clocks in New York. Then it'll be 3:30. For the moment, it's 2:30. It comes out the first Friday every month. Those figures are put together. He will obviously know what those figures are amongst a couple of other guys. And with going to jail for life, if they act on it and proves they won't do that until it's released, on Bloomberg and then the other networks, NCBC and I don't know, investing.com or where it happens to be announced at 2:30. At that stage, it'll flash across what the actual is, and you'll see what it's compared to, and then you'll see the reaction in the market. Okay, Leah Teeley, thank you. And to my good friend, have a great weekend. Okay, hope that makes sense, Eddie. Thanks very much, Etienne. Thank you. Thank you, because that's what I'm trying to strive for. It's not just me because I like the sound of my own voice, which I do. It's to obviously gaining something out of it. If you're gaining a better picture and it's showing up in your understanding, fine. The only thing then, when you get more understanding, you're always going to have to fight, guys. For the rest of your life is the discipline and that goes with it. That's why I was look at the stars involved. Look at Nadal this morning. Set down, his hands were blistered in a hell of a state, and he still had the grit, the discipline, etc., to push through and win. That's what makes the difference. Unfortunately, that's something we can teach. Yeah, I'm thinking that that's a good question, actually. Well, thank you. That's exactly, Mark. But you know, you've been to university. I'm thinking you have all this technical stuff, which is good to have. But yeah, try to get the overall picture. And to say a lot of the stuff is not used anyway. Well, there you are. You're doing quite a bit of trade, so you're risk averse. All that means you're getting a lot more. And something else before we go into that question and Mark's there. Sorry, Gerard's, I should say, is with more confidence, you'll be able to ask questions without feeling it might be a foolish question. Because you've got that confidence, you know your general knowledge is good enough, so you know the odds are likely you're not going to get laughed at the question. But when you're beginning, your confidence is not there, you're scared to ask in case you come up with a ridiculous question. You know what I'm saying? Just gives you more confidence all over. And too many technicals covering the chart. Totally agree. Look at this, uncluttered, and it seems to be doing okay. And the proof's in the pudding. We've had some pretty good trades out there. We had a couple of really bad ones this last week, but I think overall the guys have been sticking with me. Found there's far more winners than losers, far more. So yeah, in fact, the fact makes such a bloody whinge like a snap pig yesterday on one or two of the trade. One of them, I think it was, Euro Cad, means that I'm not used to it, which is good. You don't see a front page newspaper article saying someone had a car crash, but you do when an aircraft crashes, because it's not so many of them. So when I make a song and dance, that bloody thing kicked me, and I'm really actually done that very often. That is actually funny enough. The more I'm winning, it's good news if you look at it from that point of view. Okay, Teresa, I hope you're learning. You've only been with us a few weeks. I hope it's falling into place and you're taking the trouble to come here. Brilliant. Right. Cheers, mate. I just want to go back. I'm looking at Microsoft for potential buy. Obviously, the non-farm will be out by then because it opens at 3:30. So I'm fine. The only thing that worries me is it might, if it goes well, might open up. You won't get a risk reward because we don't know what's going to open at. I'm thinking it might get a bounce here, but I don't want to be chasing it. We're on the daily. If it bounces up and it opens at 270, I think then you might have missed it. You won't get a risk reward. But so it might not be practical to get that trade, Gerard. But I'm looking at a bounce on some of these tech stocks. I think we've got a chance, and the Nas going back to 12.5. But I cannot even think about it till I get those figures coming up and the interpretation 2:30. So you can look at it 3:30, but if you find it null and void, just put a line through it. Okay. So that's about the best. I'm looking at a buy on that one, but I can't even. It might even turn out to be a short if things go wrong. And the plummeting of the Nasdaq. Anything could happen. We only know that information is there and how it opens at 3:30 to make that decision. Make sure you get a risk reward. Hope that answers your question. Right. Okay. I can put you on it as long as you've got a fully funded account. I don't want people sort of badgering me with demo accounts. Okay. And not with about $100 in it either. Wasting your own time, never mind mine. Okay, just give me a second. Okay, you just WhatsApp me and just tell me who you are. So I get a number saying, hi there, what do you think of this? And I might feel like saying, who are you, you know? So put it down as your name and preferably your real account number. I'll update you to my WhatsApp, okay? Good enough. Okay, so it's 11 o'clock already. Time flies having fun on Friday, eh? I've just put it down there. Just put it down there. But this is, please, the guy's got properly funded accounts. I want to take this seriously. In fact, you come to trade with me, so you'll take it seriously. Not from guys who've got 100 Rand in and thinks I'm going to work some miracle. They're going to make £1 a month from that, and they don't have to do anything. This is where I advise they've got a funded account and make sure they take it seriously. When I say funded, something you could work with, preferably a few grand, something like that. Because it's so time consuming dealing with people, no knowledge, and expecting I'm going to work miracles for them. I do a lot, but I'm not a miracle worker. You have to look up into the heavens for that. I'll put it on again because people are not reading above. I've written it down, guys. Look at your chat line. Put it down again. Oh, how sorry, I beg your pardon. Put it down the direct line. I'm sorry, everyone in the meeting, I do beg your pardon. My mistake. There, I forgot it was just a direct to the Henny there. Do beg your pardon. That's the point, Zephyr. It's cheaper as well. You only need about $10 to buy a lottery ticket, I think. I haven't done one in years and what it costs now. Okay. I've got that, Henny. I'm just to make sure I've got that number. And now I'm going to sign off. Got stuff to do. Great stuff having you with us, and have a great weekend. Cheers, guys.